some respect on her name, okay, when it comes to the things that she's done. I laughed because I thought about Sarah Palin when they announced her as the VP pick for John McCain when they were going against Barack. Remember? And they were like, oh, this is going to be like when she came out, it was a whole moment. They had went and spent all that money on all her suits and outfits.
I remember.
They got in trouble for that later. But because they were spending money on her clothes. Like they had to get her upgraded, basically. It was like $150,000 they had threw at her wardrobe just for her to be able to be out here. And I'm like, now y'all was going to let her be the VP pick. And you questioning Kamala's ability?
And her birthright.
I mean, come on. Like, it's just crazy how we act like I don't see color. I don't see anything, but you do. And I really want people to stop acting like it's not a part of the equation when we are evaluating people. Hello and welcome to the Bold Black Girls Podcast. I'm Aries.
And I am Kim.
Hello there.
Well, good afternoon.
It is good afternoon.
Yeah.
Almost evening for us. We're a little late today.
We are. You know, you have to go with the flow of life, right? And I think I did a 5-mile walk this morning.
You got to stop grabbing that microphone, though. I'll tell you that much because I can hear you.
I know because it keeps flipping around because it's not
like
stationary.
Okay.
So I did this 5-mile walk this morning. I was up at 5 o'clock and I was exhausted. And so I think I texted you and I was like, I need a bath and a nap.
5 a.m. is just not in my
I just popped up. It was not even intentional. You know, your body. I know some people have said, hey, somebody was like, are you sleeping good? And I was like, I am.
Yeah.
I sleep very well.
I still stay up late. I'm working on that because I want to be better. So I can't do 5 a.m. This is what I would love. I would love to wake up at 6, go out, just hop up, brush your teeth real quick, get a little hot 5-minute in there, and then go walk. Be back before 7 and shower, get ready, and be at my desk at 7:50. That would be the dream start of the day. I'm aiming towards it because I think it's doable.
I have faith in you. I think you can do it.
But I mean, obviously to build a habit, you have to create routine. You have to make sure you're pushing yourself, motivating yourself, and all these things. So
and you have to prepare for the week.
The fact that it's even in my mind, this is how things happen with me. I have to play with that in my mind for a while, let it just kind of dance around, and then it'll start settling. And then I'll be like, I'm doing this, and I'll start really believing in it. It's a process. It's a whole thing.
What was that personality? I forget. We talked about that, and it said that we have to challenge ourselves. No one else can tell us. We have to come up with it ourselves that we're going to do that.
That was was it the Enneagram?
No.
Oh, no.
I forgot.
It's one that we had just done recently.
Yes.
Newer one. We're not the questioners, but the
rebellion. What were you?
Yes, rebellion.
Rebels.
Rebels. Yes. So
the rebels.
I gotta convince myself of things that I want to do. So,
and I've already started doing that because I get up.
Exactly. I was like, because you get up in the morning. That's my battle is the getting up, but because I don't go to bed until 2 something or whatever, sometimes. My body.
Yeah, I know because you'll text me late, and I'm like, I'll wake up the next morning because I wake up early, And I'm like, she's texting me at 12 o'clock. I'm like, I was already in room.
I'll be in the tub when I'm texting you too.
Yeah.
It's a part of it. But yeah, how's everything else going?
So for me, I mean, I had a good week. I would like to say it was a fairly good week. Did my little workout regimen. I stayed up on I'm doing 2 to 3 miles every morning. That helps. So that what you said about getting up at 6, try and do that habit, because I'm telling you, that fresh air hitting me before I start work, it really makes a difference, because we're all stuck in the house. And so you get a dose of vitamin D before you start the day.
Yeah, I want it for me and the boys too. Like as we start getting back, I don't even necessarily think we're going to be in routine per se, just because we're homeschooling, but just a system. It's a system of like, let's get up, let's get a little workout in. That's PE. Right. That's your physical education, right? And then
early.
Get your because LJ needs that. He needs to burn energy. He needs to be outside. Like he is that kid. And he says that he'd be like, I need to move right now. Like now he can verbalize it. He's older, so he'll be like, I need to be doing something, like I can't sit here. He can't. Me and Marvin, we could sit for hours and not be bothered. LJ, he needs to be running, jumping, doing something. So I told them we got to get our minds back on, I'm putting it in their minds too. I plant the little seeds of like, this is how it's going to be, just so we can kind of talk about it for a couple weeks. And then it's like, all right, y'all, we're going to get up early. Like, they'll be on board with whatever I want them to be on board with pretty much when it comes to that.
They say, like Nike, just do it. I would say maybe be creative. Like 1 week, let each of them decide what they're going to do, what the activity is for the morning. And maybe you have two days out the week where that's the constant, that's static. We're going to do this 30-minute workout. It could be a HIIT workout or whatever. But then let Marvin and LJ decide what the activity is, for Thursday or Friday or whatever day.
Yeah, I think that's good. I've been trying to make sure they stay involved in whatever decisions I make on things, from picking curriculum and all that. I'm like, look at this one, guys. What do you think about this? This looks like it's going to be pretty cool, or whatever. I'm still selling them, but, I'm making them feel like it's their choice.
Make it inclusive, right? We talk about diversity and inclusion, children and inclusion. So you're including them as part of it. So they feel like they have some say in it.
And I'm going to tell y'all, like, there is a whole world out there of parenting that we probably did not know existed. I know for me, since I've been delving into this homeschool mom thing, there's another world happening out here, y'all. Like in this there is different styles of homeschooling methodology that people have. You got your liberated parenting. There's all these different things. And I'm like, this is a trip. I still haven't categorized my style yet, but I know that it's a part of some of these ones that's there. Like I lean towards some, and others I'm like, I'm not all the way there yet. And I don't want to have to, I'm not going to pick one and be like, this is my style, but it will more than likely be a combination of some others. But it helps me to feel like I'm not the odd person out necessarily, because it's definitely the way I parent is not the culture of like my family parenting style, from immediate to extended. I don't parent like anybody I know, as far as within my family structure. But not that I'm better or not. It's just the way that I chose to do things is just different. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, there's other people doing that too. I'm not like the weirdo or whatever. But yeah. So it's been interesting. It's been really fun researching it and just like connecting with other families and stuff. So that's been fun. I think I needed this kind of as a distraction, to be honest with you, with some of this, because I am starting to feel like I need some socialization. Not that I'm gonna go out and go kick it, not like that. It's really just like I want just connection. Like I am into that. Like I need connection. So like I talked about doing the panel last week. I was telling everybody about the how to be a connector panel.
Yes. That was the perfect networking event for you to moderate.
It was
Because you
so
were the
fun.
ultimate connector.
It was so fun, and I'm sad because it wasn't recorded. So sorry, y'all. I didn't realize that until later. Well, I wasn't in charge of that, but I looked down because we on the Zoom every week. So I just at one point I look, I'm like, this ain't even being recorded. Like I'm like, but I was like, oh, that's okay. It worked out. It was a lot of people that came and that were really engaged, and it was just fun. I feel like I was just like in my bag, like
you were in your zone. That's your thing too.
it was fun. So I was like, okay, this was not enough time. We need to do this again, at this point. So got my wheels turning about some other things too. So I was like, you know what? It's a lot of people that needed help here. Like I had kind of played around with doing like a course or like a class or whatever. I think this helped me feel a little bit more confident and like, girl, you know what you're talking about. Like you have it, so I was like kind of building myself up a little bit there.
What did they say? You got the play to your strength and your gifts will make what?
Room for you. Yes, sure did. So that was just fun. And as the boys were sitting next to me on their computers while I was doing it, right? So when I got done, and usually they hear me on calls and stuff all day, right? And so they were like, LJ said, that sounded kind of fun. And I was like, it did. And Marvin said, yeah, I told him I want to be on this call. Like, I want to be involved. Like, this sounds like something you can do. Like, they were like really listening and like learning. I was like, this is so weird. Like they were.
I didn't even know they were sitting next to you.
They were sitting right there because I had them come over in the networking. We had like a networking hour at the end. So the boys, somebody had a dog that looked like their family dog. And so I'm like, come over here, guys. And they looked and everybody's like, but I'm like, I got my kids trained. Okay. They sit right here while I'm doing
what?
So yeah, that was kind of encouraging. Whenever my boys give me props, I take it because they don't play. They will tell me the truth.
Kids will tell the truth. You can count on kids to tell you the truth.
And my kids, I really allow them that space to be honest, about how they feel about things. So they just be like, Mom, or they'll be like, this is really good. So when they say it, I'm like, it was really good. Oh my gosh. Like I'm all excited. So yeah, that was my highlight of the week. Last week.
Oh, we had some other highlights this week.
Are we going to talk about that first? Hold on. Let me see. I wanted to save that. Let me see.
Well,
yeah, let's say that. Let's say they know we about to talk about it because it's in the title. Y'all know we about to talk about it.
It's true.
But there was a couple other little things that you were a part of at your job, conversations and things.
Yes.
So elaborate on that because I don't think we got a chance to really.
Yes. Well, so kind of going back to your networking, like now starting a new role or at a new company, new industry, you get accustomed to knowing who you know. I've been at that company. I knew everyone. Now I'm at a new company. So I actually have to be strategic in the relationships that I build, especially because they're virtually. And so one of the ways I've done is I will schedule like 15, 30-minute calls, video calls, because they're really heavy on the video conferences, which I play to that. And so I decided I was going to meet with this gentleman, and he ended up inviting me to the diversity council meeting, what they call it, the diversity council leads. And he was like, I think it would be excellent for you to join. And I was like, okay, I'm open. Right now is like kind of the year of yes. Yeah, because it's new. And I got on this diversity council, and they were talking about different initiatives, how to bring more diversity to the company where I work at. And one white guy brought up he wanted to see reparations. And I was floored because I had never experienced a white guy. And he basically said that the reason he wanted to do that, he said that he was from like Indiana and he saw how Black people had been treated, and it was just so unfair. And as part of something that he wants to do, I think he said he saw a TED. It's a TED talk out there about it.
I'm sure,
and I'll attach it to the notes. But it's basically talking about reparations and what that looks like. And there's also a bill, HR 40, a bill that they want to research ways that we can, or ways that they can give us reparations, us being African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met with him, I want to say maybe Tuesday morning. After I met with him, you know how AI is. I see this article come through my feed, and it said that the billionaire Robert Smith, he had stated that he wanted companies, big companies, who were benefiting, right, from slave owners to consider reparations.
Mm. So, and was it like 2%? Something about 2% of revenues. I didn't get to read through the article, but because I was like, let me see how far this goes before I even start getting excited or getting like interested in this. But I saw that come across my. You probably sent a text and then it came across my algorithm.
So I would love to see reparations for us. I feel like every other culture has received reparations, but us, we weren't given what we were promised was the 40 acres and a meal.
I feel like we're still just trying to get acknowledgement that the thing even happened. It's just crazy. All of it is crazy to me that we have literally lived in this space where people act like we're asking for more. We're not asking for more than anybody else. This is literally like we
want to be put on the same playing field. We want a level playing field, and we are not on level playing field. And it speaks to the companies. Like, you look at these tech companies, you have less than 3 or 5% of African Americans. And then when we go through statistics about Black women in pay, because we had what Black women equal pay was on Thursday, you still have us 62 cents to the dollar for a white man, and it takes well over a year for us to catch up with what they made. Well over a year. And then you have African American women who are 68% hourly.
Girl, this is why
it's a disparity across the board.
I tire when I think about it, which is probably why they all be like, I'm okay with the study on reparations. Everybody want to study it, but nobody want to actually like come up with real plans
to execute.
It's a mentality around this idea that you're giving us something that we should not have. There are generations and generations and generations that have lost opportunity and generational wealth and all these things that we never got a chance to even have a shot at. My issues sometimes when we're talking about reparations, which I would love to have, particularly in the case of my mortgage and my student loans.
Yes.
I would really appreciate that if that happened. I would take it and I would be right there smiling with my reparations check. Those reparations, the lack of the reparations also came with racism coming. You know, racism as a compounder of us not getting what we deserve. So it's not, even if you get reparations, if the banks still don't want to loan to us and we're still being treated unfairly in all these other spaces, it's so much that has to happen all at the same time. Like, we have to totally right size, whatever, all these things. And it does seem overwhelming, but I do think that we have come up with things very quickly when we needed to.
When we want to.
We just showed that with the stimulus package, right? Went in there, cooked up some numbers, threw that check out there, and people got $200. Okay, that was pretty quick.
Rapid.
So we can do what we got to do if we needed to. I just think it's a matter of not wanting to, because you're going to have to take away from somewhere to give it to us. And I think they have done the numbers and they know how much it's going to take. And they know that, and that they are the people who are against us having what we deserve. I don't know if people are really ready for us to have an equal footing. That's why we're fighting for equality every day, every year, every century is a new uprising and all this stuff, because we saw at the polls in 2016 that a lot of people in this country say they want inclusion and all that, and they vote totally different. They don't vote with the same thing that they're saying. It's impossible for that many people who say they're all about, you know, equality and all that, and then see those numbers of people who voted this man in office. So I hope it happens. I will be right here ready to receive it. Yeah, it's on the list of all the other things that need to happen right now.
I agree.
Now
into
with that being said, can we just have a moment of excitement about the first Black woman?
Yes.
Also first South Asian woman on a major ticket
ballot. Yes.
Like this has not, the last time we had a person of color, Black person specifically, was Barack Obama. He is the only one that has been put on anything that actually won. So like for us right now, it's like, wow, there is a Black, and this is a Black woman. Okay, so we're going to talk about all these people who keep saying, is she not Black enough? And that is first of all, if anybody was doing a case study on what's going on right now, all the typical darts have been thrown immediately. First of all, not Black enough. We're going to challenge her birth certificate. Come on. And that just kills me because it's like, oh, okay, so y'all didn't challenge it. No point during her political career, but now we're going to challenge her. Okay, anyway. And then being called a angry Black woman on day one.
Black woman.
I was like,
and she's mean.
Well, that's basically what they kept saying. That's what they do, right? She's mean. She's very nasty to so and so. He said the same thing about her. He did Hillary Clinton the same way, calling her nasty, whatever. That's like the first thing that is so. I kind of chuckled because I'm like,
I knew it was coming.
I don't expect
it was like,
but
and it's funny too because like before she was put on the ticket and we're going through all the social injustices and just these conversations at work that we're having, and the angry Black woman, coming up, and they are, we're trying to, how can I say this? We're trying to bring it to the forefront, right, for them, so that they don't say that and how we are offended by that. And now it resurfaces as you put a Black woman on the ticket. It's like you forgot all about all the diversity and inclusion and the microaggression training.
Forget that. That's gone. That's cute when we talk about
it's out the door. It's out the door. So it was all relevant when we were trying to massage everything and, hey, are you okay?
Black Lives Matter.
Now I feel like I am getting some dirty looks as a Black woman in public.
I haven't been in public, so I don't know about the dirty looks.
I'm just talking about like even just driving.
Yeah, I haven't had
even just driving.
I don't be nowhere.
Right. I go joyride
away from people on purpose because it is hostile out here. It is a hostile environment. So yes, I'm trying to stay out of just space because it's not worth it right now. But
that's going to be from now until November.
Back to this Black woman that I would like to claim as a Bay Area resident. She comes from Oakland, California, which is, I'm from Richmond, California, which is next door neighbor.
Next door.
Richmond has been getting, I'm excited about the East Bay right now because, we just got through watching the No Limit Chronicles journey on BET from No Limit with Master P and the rise of No Limit and how he made all that money and everything. And he really, there was like 1 or 2 episodes just all about his life in Richmond, which I was just like, see, y'all want to give Richmond stuff, even though they were saying how hood it was and stuff. But it was very instrumental in his, rise. But I want to say just the Bay Area in and of itself, being this place of like really being known as kind of a radical part of California with your Oaklands and your Berkeleys and your, these areas that kind of breed these type of personalities and these
Right.
resistant, type of people. I think that says a lot about, the type of personality that she has been showing her whole career, pretty much, whether people liked her or not. I mean, there are, there with her being in this position, and really when she decided to run for president, obviously the attacks and the scrutiny of her record and her political career came as a part of that package. So she had to answer to a lot of things that people felt were not good. I feel like she's already decisions that she made that may not have been, the ones that people would have preferred.
Correct.
There's also a lot of things that she did very well, and she's never lost a campaign in California. So with all of that being said, people still felt that she was capable,
qualified,
and the one to do the job. She had a lot of great programs that she implemented as, going all the way from going to Howard University. She's really been, they've been playing up her association with her sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and all the women of Alpha Kappa Alpha are like totally riding this moment of their soror, awesome. The number one, the first Black sorority. Greek life in the Black community is a big deal when it comes to those who have been college educated. Whether you went to an HBCU or not, the Divine Nine is a big deal in college campuses when it comes to Black people, whether you were in one or not. You were on a campus where there were people in fraternities, sororities. That was a part of your world. You're going to the frat parties. You're going to the sorority. You're seeing them in the community. I've also been connected with a lot of these sororities and fraternities through community organizing and feeding the homeless on Thanksgiving or doing these different things, within the community. But they are a well-oiled machine when it comes to their network and the inner workings. So CNN did a special about how the AKAs are behind her. That's basically a national membership of 300,000. So you already got 300,000 people right here, just ready to be out here, for you. She just has it. She has it. She don't play no games. So literally I feel
at all.
Yes. A woman who has shown that she will not just accept any old thing
or take any challenge.
Yeah, she will challenge you. We've seen her grilling people on C-SPAN
and hold them accountable.
Yes. And so I'm excited about it because she did it to Joe Biden during the primaries when I don't know if it was the primaries, but when they were doing the debates, the Democratic debates, and she came for him and they said that that was the gut punch that sent him about to be up out of here, at one point. But, I think he saw that and respected her gangster and was like, you know what? I need her on my side because
I need her. Exactly.
And you know what? Be able to handle these folks.
And he probably looked at her. I had a mentor a long time ago ask me, she says, do you want power or respect? And he respected her after that.
Love or respect or power or respect?
Power or respect.
Okay. I want both.
And I think he respected her power. I really do.
She was touted as the most powerful woman, in not America. I don't know if it was America. At one point when she was running, she had been it's some respect on her name, okay, when it comes to the things that she's done. I laughed because I thought about Sarah Palin when they announced her as the VP pick for John McCain when they were going against Barack. Remember? And they were like, oh, this is going to be when she came out, it was a whole moment. They had went and spent all that money on all her suits and outfits.
I remember.
They got in trouble for that later. But because they were spending money on her clothes. They had to get her upgraded, basically. It was $150,000 they had threw at her wardrobe just for her to be able to be out here. And I'm like, now y'all was gonna let her be the VP pick and you questioning Kamala's ability
and her birthright.
I mean, come on. It's just crazy how we act like I don't see color, I don't see anything, but you do. And I really want
We have
people to stop
actions.
acting like it's not a part of the equation when we are evaluating people for things. She's been called too ambitious. Who isn't ambitious that's trying to be the president?
You
That's
wouldn't
everybody.
you want your president to be ambitious?
Like anyone who wants to be the president, like you're an ambitious person. You're
You
going through,
have to be.
you have to be. So I don't know. It's just a trip. They just have thrown everything out there. And I'm not saying that there is not one person in politics that everything they do I agree with, or everything, every policy, we can go down the list of all of them, and everybody made some kind of decision that wasn't the bomb, right? Like it wasn't great.
Right.
At this point, though, this is where we stand. We have one viable option. Whether you got all these criticisms of her or Joe, because I got a whole bunch for him. At this point, I'm voting for her. That's what I'm voting for. Because he needs to just be quiet, read the teleprompter whenever they put it up there. Let her handle this for you. This is the time. Let the Black woman come in and save the day.
Do her thing.
I'm excited about it. I really am.
Her speech was really good.
Yeah.
I got a few.
Go ahead.
I said I got a few messages about it at work from people at work, like, "Hey, did you see?" And I flipped it on, and she's very very eloquent. She has it together. I mean, I feel like she's qualified. Is she the best candidate? I mean, who is the best candidate, right?
Exactly.
Like you said, it's either or. It's either or, one or the other. And don't suppress your vote.
Not voting is voting. Not voting is voting. You not voting is voting for somebody. And if you don't, I had a conversation with one of my homeboys last week because he was like, it's like no matter what happens, somebody has something to complain about, right? So she gets announced, and obviously people are like, vote Kamala, like everybody's posting all this stuff. And he's like, people telling people who to vote for, blah, 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 blah. Which I'm in my mind, I'm like, does he even vote? I don't know if this person even votes. But he was all upset. I said, okay, so what's the alternative? Help me understand what will make you feel better, because we are in an election year. People are out here putting their messages out there so that people can make a choice. If they're not attacking you about your choice, why does it matter? You're going to see it. You're going to see it, okay? And unless you are trying to vote for, oh boy, don't get offended by it. Just if you decide you don't want to vote, don't let me know it, but just don't go against what are you trying to get to? What's the resolution? You know what I mean? So it's like, what are the options? We literally have two options. The rest don't even matter at this point. What? Come on. Like, why are we acting like this so hard? You got two choices. You got to make one. If you decide to not, you don't have a right to talk. You can't talk about anything. You can't talk about your county tax.
Not showed up.
Your housing assessments, all that stuff. You can't talk about the city, and if it's dirty, you can't talk about the schools. You can't talk about nothing. You do not vote. You don't get to participate. I feel like if you are actively withholding your vote, you don't need to be saying anything about what's going on in the city, in the community, in the world at all. That's just my opinion. Because you're not participating in the process.
Correct.
So you can't complain about what the process is and why is it.
You're not going to be part of the solution. You can't complain about the problem.
What did Denzel Washington had a quote? He was like, "Those that can do, and those that can't sit back and talk about those that do." That was his line, and it's just the truth. You need to
I agree.
Throw your hat in the ring. Like, everybody needs to be a part of this process, So that's where we're at. I think we're beyond the part of being like, well, I'm not telling nobody who to vote for. I'm telling y'all who to vote for. You don't have to, but I'm still going to put my, we need him out.
You can have your opinion.
We need him out.
Of who you want to vote. Yeah, we do.
So that's just what that is. I don't love Joe Biden per se. But I will take Kamala Harris. I will take her over anybody else that's as an option at this point. So we are.
And what I like is she has the resume, right? You think about 45. He never sat in a political position.
She was in the DA of Alameda County. She was the DA of San Francisco. She was the Attorney General. California, of the largest state in the. There's nowhere other. They said that no other place that you can be the AG was bigger than basically the whole nation, like California, and then the whole United States. That's the only comparison. So she's held these leadership positions and shown that she can handle this job. So.
And the U.S. Senator of California.
And I think the committee she's on is like Homeland Security, the budget.
And I saw something about, she did something about with the homeowners, right?
Yes, when there was the predatory lending stuff going on. They were trying to negotiate a bill for relief nationwide, right? Because of all that was going down. And it was really up to her because she was over the largest, state. And she pulled out of negotiations that they have been doing negotiations, I think, for like a year or something like that. And she pulled out because she was like, y'all not trying to give us enough money. California, that's like, pennies to us. This ain't right, trying to. And she ended up going back and she got what she wanted. I think it ended up being like $18 billion for California alone, which obviously positively affected the rest of the country. With them being able to get more, I think that it was like 4 times as much as what they were trying to give her. What she ended up with. This lady know what she's doing. Okay, she knows how to negotiate. She really does. She knows how to investigate because she clowns these people. Like y'all just need to go Google her and
to ask the right questions.
Yes, do your own research. I mean, that's really the bottom line when it comes to some of this. I think we can glean a lot from her. As individuals and just seeing what she's been able to accomplish. Obviously, timing has a lot to do with it. We're in a different time. It's going to be a lot of things that teed her up for this, but it will not be because she did not do the work. I've heard so many things about her, and nobody's stuff is just squeaky clean. If I ever tried to run for anything, I think she started running. She ran when she was like 38 or something like that. I mean, she was like over. If I tried to run for something right now, y'all would find out a whole bunch of stuff about my life that y'all didn't know. You'd be like, what? You did that? Yes, and I do not need that happening, which is why I probably will never run for anything.
But she had to be prepared, right? She had to prepare herself for all of these roles. All of these roles really prepared her for this.
She had to, right? She knew what she wanted to do. She had to think.
Obviously had an end goal.
Strategic, right? She had to strategically maneuver this landscape of politics, which is no joke. Being in the DA's office, dealing with, it's a lot, for those jobs. Attorney General
in California.
Of
all places.
Exactly.
She got the best practice.
Huh?
I said she got the best practice of being in California.
Exactly. So there was a lot of things that I think we could pick up from her about strategy, knowing what you want to do, having goals. She had community, clearly, with her sorority, and they said 22,000 people came out in Oakland when she announced her candidacy or her campaign or whatever for presidential election. They said that was more than the people that came out in Chicago for Barack. So I was like, they've been saying that she's up, like she's been really.
Oh, I've seen it.
The
numbers are up.
She's showing that she's definitely a viable, option. I think her fundraising and some things were there, but I feel like she knew she was going to be in this position. That's probably why she pulled out early.
She knew what she was doing.
They probably already had locked that up.
And they were already having the discussions. It was all, I'm sure this was all a strategic plan.
They're like, you know what? She's young. She's the up and coming one. She actually could make this happen.
I would love to see a documentary on that. I would love to see a documentary on that.
Let's put her with Joe. She gonna juice up the campaign. He's on his way out. We might be teeing her up to be the first woman to become the president. So That might scare America, y'all.
I think it is. I think it does scare them that a woman in power, and two, a woman of color, a black woman.
Not a woman of color, a black.
Well, that's what they're gonna. I'm just teeing it up to what they're gonna say, but a black woman.
That man said, remember that man? I told you that mayor of what city was it? I forgot. He said that Joe Biden picked Aunt Jemima as his VP pick on Twitter, and the citizens came out they were calling for him to resign. They are coming for her.
They are, and they're going to continue to come for her. This is really going to be interesting. These next 90 days,
and
we might even have less.
It says a lot too about our kind of male chauvinistic views, as well, because even with Barack and Hillary, I feel like people are like, well, I'd rather have a dude than a woman. Like, I'd rather have a
black
than a woman up in here. What? I don't know why it's so hard. So it's like, as a black woman, we got the combination. They probably like, oh, heck no, we don't want no black woman up in here because she's not going to have it. She's not going to let us keep doing this foolery.
This is true.
Also, I think there's a lot of pressure on her to produce something for the black community specifically. Whether or not I know that she's right now, we're all on this wave of, trying to
black
bring awareness, black women, and we're paying attention now. So we were already kind of feeling a way about Barack Obama, like it was a little safe. It was a different time. He was trying to just kind of get through this thing. You're gonna have to show something to the black people, during this. Some things gonna have to come up out of this.
Something's gonna have an outcome out of this.
So I do think it's not an easy job, because if she gets in there, we're gonna be on it. We're not letting that, like last time. I think
we also had to think about it.
We were so happy to have him there that I think we didn't realize until later that it wasn't a lot that specifically happened for us, there. So you kind of sit back like, okay. I mean, it was cool, but it wasn't cool enough, because we should have had more, happen. To have somebody of our own in there, you want more things to happen. So I think she does have the pressure on her now to, what you doing for us? Because this will be your last time too. Like everybody's kind of on that edge right now. So I think she's gonna want to, put some things out there right away. And she said that.
I hope so.
She said some things, talked about the Joe Lewis Voting Rights Act, like redoing that and putting his name on it, and just little things that she's mentioned since she's been kind of out there. But I'm like, all right, now let's see what else we can get, because this is just the time. I'm sorry. I feel like we got to unlearn this whole thing about don't be doing, ask for too much. Nobody else cares. Nobody else cares about how much more they need to ask for and all these things. Why we got to act like we're just so happy to have anything,
Right.
We've done a lot of work. If you've done slave labor, that's why we call it that. If you've done slave labor in your life, and if I was a slave and somehow I was able to see that my kids and my grandkids and my generations behind me still out here, I put too much work out here in these fields for y'all to be doing my people like this. Like, they need to be treated right. And just because we keep masking it into this more civilized society and ways of hiding these things, no, it needs to be corrected. And that's just where we're at. And it's going to take
it's been far too long that it has not been corrected or addressed. Yeah. I keep going back to John Lewis was 20 years old when he started the fight. He died when he was 80. That's well over 50, 60 plus years.
It's just, and it makes me sad, because I do feel like it's not going to happen.
It makes me sad too.
Because of the racism part. It's so deep that All you gotta do is go read some comments on somebody's post. And it's just sad. That video I showed you of the police beating those protesters in Chicago today.
Yes.
People under that comment was like, that's what they get. They shouldn't have been out there, blah, blah, blah. I say that looks beautiful. You know, that's good. They're, you know, these Black Lives Matter people, like this is what's, and I was like, let me get from under these comments. Because sometimes I go look, but
those comments get you heated and worked up.
Because it scares me to a certain degree about just like where we are as a country, and that there's people out here that could be your next door neighbor that are in these comments, you know, right now.
They could be your next door neighbor. They have influence to hire and fire. They have influence over the interest rate of your loan, whether or not you get the loan.
Yes. So that's the part that I'm always thinking about as I see those things. I'm like, dang, how do you get to people like this? Like, how do you even?
And I feel like it's not getting any better. You would think over time this will have gotten better. It's not.
I think we're just scratching the surface right now on just being able to talk about it.
Yes.
But the mentality around it totally needs to shift. And it's kind of, even in the panel last week, I said, you know, when it comes to building connections with people, you got to check yourself. You got to check your heart. You got to check where you're coming from, why you are even wanting to build a connection with this person. Is it selfish reasons? Is it because whatever, I genuinely care or want to get to know this person and know their story? You got to kind of have that conversation with yourself on kind of where are you coming from, and not being selfish. That's something that I'm really talking to my kids a lot about over the last few weeks. We've been talking about, I'm like, see how I point out things, you know, like with them as a way of showing them. I'm like, don't always try to do something because you're getting something back. Like sometimes it's just going to be you picking up me and LJ's plate and put in the trash for us. You don't get
not expecting anything in return, just being kind.
You just don't get nothing for that, and be cool with it. Now you got to have that conversation on why you're not cool with it. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you got to start figuring out. Why is it that I feel a way about that? Like I can't give without getting something back. That's a whole thing. Right? And so until you can kind of get in that space of saying, no, this right here might not directly affect me, but I can have compassion enough and empathy enough to connect with you and see that this bothers you. And as my friend, I don't like that. So I want to be there to support you in this way. And that's really where the allyship has to come in a different direction. It has to be like, I recognize that I'm not better than this person just because of how I was born. Right. You didn't choose your race. You don't get a cookie for that. Like nobody, you got to pick in the computer what you was going to be when nobody got that. So just to try to step outside of yourself and say, I actually am benefiting from some privileges that came from this. So how can I, kind of come and communicate that either with my family members, people in your immediate life? Is that
start practicing? Yeah, you can practice that.
We all can practice it in various ways. If we're in the Black community, we could practice it within our families with regard to if we hear things that are not right, that we need to correct, whether it be about race, whether it be about sexism, classism, whatever. Like I'm that person. I feel like I'm always like listening for the like, that's not really right, kind of thing. I'm known for being that person. So for me, it's not as hard as it might be for other people in their family. So I don't know. That's just stuff that comes in my mind because I'm like, man, y'all got to start checking your uncle, and your cousins that is saying this crazy stuff. We've been hearing a lot of these stories recently about kids who are doing it with their parents, young white children who are going back and forth with their parents about Black Lives Matter or racism.
Yes, challenging them.
Yeah. And so that's what it's going to take. And it will be faster if us as if you're not a Black person and you have children if you start teaching your kids just a different way of thinking. But it starts first with you educating yourself, right? So we can't do it without this liberated parent thing that I was listening to the other day. She was like, you can't liberate your children until you liberate yourself. So you got to start. Everything starts with self.
It really does.
You know, so we just got to start with self.
And your kids are watching you. They're going to follow your lead. Right? So if they see you treating someone unkind or you are being racist, they're going to pick up those same habits and they're going to do that. They're going to do what they see you do, not what you tell them to do.
They are not even listening to you. They are watching you. Like, they're watching you. I hear it with my kids. It's funny because I hear them say something. I'm like, that sounds like something I said. You know, like they're doing what I would do in this moment because they saw me showing this, you know, and it could be good or bad. So correcting that when you see it, you know, is very big, I think, as a parent, you know, but we got to just start trying to walk it ourselves first before we do that. But yes, I'm excited. We got Kamala in there. We need to hurry. We need to get her in there, though. So back to our last week's call to action of get registered, get everybody in your family registered, get
early vote if you can.
Early, the first day of early voting, if you have early voting, do it. You can bring your mail-in ballots to the, I think you can bring it to the courthouse, they said. Like, you don't have to mail it. You can go to your place and put it, you know, mail it there. Because, you know, the president is trying to get rid of the postal service before the election. So
crazy.
It's just ridiculous. What else? Poll workers, if you can volunteer, we have a link for that.
There's a shortage for it.
There's a shortage of poll workers. So if you can volunteer to be one. So we just got to get out there because now it's the time to really work to get her there. I said, you know, I hope every voting person participates in this and make some things happen. But what can we do, Kim? Like, how can we make what we're learning by watching her, kind of her rise and her power, right? As I feel like as Black women, there's something to learn from this. Like, there's something we can apply to our life.
I would say we talked about her resume, right? She's being strategic. So be strategic. But in her pursuit of being strategic, she had to prepare herself.
Yeah.
So everything, like you said, you kind of what you touched on that earlier is like, all right, what is the end goal? And your goals may change. But ultimately you have, okay, this is where I want to be, but what do I need to do to get there? She came prepared with her resume. And I think one thing you've shared, last but not least, is what? Speak your truth to your power.
Yes, she has been telling it like it is. I also think she's been bold.
And she doesn't waver. And she doesn't waver on it either.
Right. And she's been bold.
I was just getting ready to say that.
She's been bold because even in these roles, I was looking, this is only her first year in Senate. She just been hitting it. Like, soon as she came in, it's like, okay, cool. We're doing this. We going here. She ran for offices that never have been occupied by a Black woman before. She was the first in San Francisco. She was the first she was the first
of a lot.
In San Francisco, she was the first in the U.S. Senate for California. She was now the first for the VP pick on a major ticket. So she's been trailblazing, you know, basically. And so being bold has a lot to do with that. She didn't feel like she was going to lose. I mean, from everything that I like kind of researched about her, it was like, she's like, that's okay, we going for it. And when she went for it, she was killing fools out there. Like, she was literally beating them by far. Like, not like close.
I agree. It kind of goes back to what you just said. Go for it. And a lot of times we don't go for it. So we got to go for it. Be ambitious, right? Because we know without a doubt that men will look at a job posting that they don't qualify for. If they meet one of them, they will apply. And women, we don't do that.
Yeah, we got to be better there. I think I feel like I've been seeing a lot of bold women, you know, kind of stepping up in some roles recently. I just want us to continue the momentum because what we've been knowing that they are now about to figure out is that y'all want this stuff solved. You could have got it solved a long time ago. We would be in a different place had we
bring us to the table because we solve problems.
Exactly. And she's gonna do some things. I feel very strongly that it's gonna be an awakening for a lot of people to realize, like, oh shoot, like, who knew? Exactly. Who would have thought? Yeah. Well, here you go. I think they know, though. They know. They're just scared. Yeah. So
we're essential.
We are essential. I would say for the Black women listening, feel empowered by this. We all can have our personal opinions on the process and the people and all the things, but there comes a point when here we are and we just got to like really tap into our sense of community and make some things happen. I think that's where we're at right now. It's like, that's fine. We'll deal with all the extra stuff later. But right now, we about to take this.
We need community.
Yeah. So just have faith in yourself. I think we need to, like you said, be strategic, prepared, and just stick to our guns, when it comes to this stuff. So
don't waver.
Do not waver. I love it. I was excited. I wish we could have recorded earlier, like the day of, because I was thinking about it like, we need to record. But I'm glad we got a chance to I had to go back and be like, let me see everything that I didn't pay attention to about her, before. Because I just wasn't sure, not that I doubted her ability. I just wasn't really like educated on all of her.
And history. That goes, and me too. And I think for both of us, like you just said, educate. And we've talked about this podcast after podcast, educate yourself on the past and the current, right? So that we can move forward in our future for our next generation.
Exactly. We got to keep reading, keep researching, doing our own stuff. It's a lot of propaganda out there on both sides. Politics is just this. It's almost like thinking about Hollywood. There are a lot of facades. There's a lot of things. There's some people who are really trying to do some work that is meaningful, right? But a lot of it is what's popular, what's this. But these people work for us. We are bringing them into these roles. They work for us. We have to start educating ourselves on who they are, what they believe in, if they're going to be able to fulfill the vision that we say we have for our country. We need to hold them accountable. So that's kind of where we're at now. It's like, all right, let's get them in because we got to get him out. That's just where we're at right now. Okay.
And I feel like we're in a season of holding accountable. And that's the key is we need to hold people accountable.
I think the awareness now that we have, all the awakenings that have taken place this year, we will be more equipped to hold people accountable this time around. I think we fell off. We definitely fell off. We got excited. We got the, they gave us something to look at and we were excited and ready to go and all that. Now we're like, okay, so this time you ain't wasting this. You're going to have to do some things. So I'm excited about that too. The whole thing about it. So anyway, all right, y'all, go to boldblackgirls.com. Rate and review the episode. Go to boldblackgirls.com to get your Bold Black Girls t-shirt. Folks been ordering the little shirts. And yeah, keep checking us out. Share us with a friend. And I'm gonna keep riding this wave for as long as possible because I feel like as soon as he announced her, I was like, all right, we about to roll these sleeves up again like Barack Obama started.
Time to get to work.
Chipping in. I watch the next time y'all see me, I'm probably gonna have on a Biden Harris t-shirt because I definitely ordered one on the day of.
Did you?
I did because I was like, well, we here now, so let me represent the sister and give me a yard sign. So my neighbors who got their Trump signs, I'm like, they got theirs out, but mine out. So I'm jumping on board. All right, y'all. Anything?
Have a words? No.
All right. Have a bold week. We will see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.